Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever time it is, wherever you are, whoever you are, and welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, the show in which we, the folks at Nerd Caliber, talk about nerd news that has happened in the past week since our last show last Tuesday. And a lot has happened. We got a lot of topics that we're going to get into. As you saw in the thumbnail, an awful lot of them are related to D23, but not all of them. And not all of them necessarily good news, unfortunately, because of that. But before we get into this, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, first-person shooter on Facebook and Instagram as a cosplay photographer, Burley_adopter on Twitter, bunch of other places, doing a bunch of other things. Before we get going, we are going to tell you about the fact that we are not only streaming this on Facebook Live and YouTube, but also on Twitch. That right there is the URL for our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/nerdcaliber. Love to have you check it out if you do, in fact, have a Twitch account. Would love to have you consider actually becoming a follower or subscriber or whatever they call it on Twitch. I'm going to say subscriber. There we go. And we also would love to have you chat with us on any of the chats within any of those three things that we do our live show on, any of those three platforms, including chatting like Luminous, who was already here in the show on YouTube Live. Luminous, thank you for joining. Welcome to the show. We do have, as I said, an awful lot of stuff to get into, so I'm going to jump right into it. Before we get into the D23 stuff, I've got a couple of things. First off, this is a scene from the Prime Video, the Amazon Prime Video series Paper Girls, based on the comic book series by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chiang. And the news is that it's been canceled after just one season. This was a really good Luminous. Great. Thank you very much for letting us know. I did get a bitrate problem statement on YouTube, but apparently YouTube is lying to me. So, good news. Not good news for the folks behind Paper Girls. This is a really good series. It's based on, like I said, a comic book run written by Brian K. Vaughan. So you know the comic book had smart writing. They did a really good job adapting that writing into the series. The cast of young teenage girls who are these paper delivery girls in the 1980s who get caught up in a really interesting and sort of bizarre time travel story they are really good. They're all outstanding in all of their various roles. And Prime, for whatever reason, I'm assuming because it never actually broke into the rankings of Nielsen's streaming shows, just decided that it wasn't worth paying the money to make it. And it wasn't like they were paying huge special effects budgets on this thing. The special effects are, modern Doctor Who-esque when they're there. And it's not really. Lumina says, Paper Girls canceled. I hope it finds a new home. They are shopping it for a new home. So if you have not seen this series, and I know that Prime has, of course, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power taking up your attention, and then, of course, HBO Max has House of the Dragon. Paper Girls is really good. My review of it was, full of high praise. If you get a chance, please go watch it so at least they can take that viewership numbers with them somewhere else where they might be able to land this on a new home. And like I said, it never actually broke into the Nielsen ratings at all for any of its episodes that have aired so far. But it got a 90% on the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and 88% audience score. And this is a science fiction show focused on teenage girls, and it didn't get review bombed to bring it down below an 88% audience score. So either it's that good, or it really hasn't been seen by enough people to rise to the level of the haters. So let's hope it gets some sort of traction. Anyway. Paper Girls canceled. We won't be getting a season 2 on Prime. Fingers crossed we'll be getting a season 2 somewhere else if they do wind up actually getting somebody to pick this up. All right, also on Prime, and this is a complete shock to me. I didn't even know it was happening. We may have covered this and I just forgot it, but I don't remember doing so. This is a clip from the trailer that was just released for the upcoming Prime series called The Peripheral, based on a William Gibson novel. So it is apparently being produced by Kilter Films, which is the film production studio from Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother and often writing partner in a lot of his stuff. And it basically stars, as you can see here, Chloe Grace Moretz, plays Flynn Fisher. And this is the blurb: a woman trying to hold together the pieces of her broken family in a forgotten corner of tomorrow's America. Flynn is smart, ambitious, and doomed. She has no future until the future comes calling for her. It's clearly a sort of dystopian. It doesn't look like... I haven't read the novel. I've read a lot of Gibson, but not this one. But if you look at the trailer, it looks like a post-environmental fuel scarcity kind of world. A post-unstoppable climate change. A lot of people are riding around in bikes, and they are living in beat-up old Airstream trailers and things like that. So, but as you can see in the image, we'll bring that up again. Clearly, there's some high-tech science going on, and that apparently is the focus of the story. This character Fisher winds up somehow connected to this research of what seems to be a sort of a virtual reality device, what they call in anime a full dive virtual reality. Your entire consciousness is in this other reality, and you experience things as though they are real. It looks really good. It's got a cast that I don't know much about, except in looking at this description in this article on Deadline. A bunch of them are from Peaky Blinders, and even more of them are from the HBO series The Deuce. And that says a lot of good things to me as far as what the cast is going to be like. Those were very character-driven shows. And there were definitely plots going on and interweaving plots in both of them, but they were very, very character-driven shows. And so I'm hoping that that's the case here. It's based on a William Gibson novel, so it's going to be cyberpunk-y science fiction at its best, or at least the source material is. So yeah, that is going to be debuting October 21st. A little over a month. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Not sure if that's going to make up for Prime canceling Paper Girls, but let's see. All right. I'm going to break the D23 stuff into three major categories. We're talking about the general sort of Disney stuff, movies, shows, and so on. I didn't put in anything for the Disney parks and rides and so on, which was mostly what they talked about on Sunday. But, shows, entertainment, that's the first category. The second large category is going to be the Star Wars stuff. And then the final category will be the Marvel stuff. First up is the first full trailer, not just a teaser, but the first full trailer for Hocus Pocus 2. It looks good. It looks funnier than the first one did, in my opinion. And again, just to be clear here, I like the first movie because it was filmed in part about a mile and a half away from where I live. So I find that really cool, going to that old graveyard and so on and going, yeah, cool, they filmed Hocus Pocus here. And a lot of it in Salem and so on. And it's kind of amusing, but it's not a nostalgia fest for me like it is for a lot of people. So the fact that there's a sequel, I was pretty neutral on. This trailer has some funny. They do some interesting, innovative things with the same characters, and different plays on the bits that they did and the characterizations that they had in the first movie. And particularly Doug Jones as the zombie. He's got like the final joke in the trailer, and it's a good one. So I'm more keen on watching it, even though I had really fallen off when I realized that I was completely wrong in saying at one point when the teaser came out that this was filmed like the first one was, around Salem and Marblehead. This was all filmed in Rhode Island. Now, granted, New England, yay, go Rhode Island. But, I was kind of hoping they were going to bring it back here. So, will I watch it? Sure. Will I go to a theater to watch it? Hell no. I'm not going to a theater to watch anything. So yeah, there's that. So, this is coming out. Did we get an actual release date? We've had a release date for a long time. I just can't remember it. Streaming exclusively on Disney Plus September 30th. So, there you go. 2 weeks. Much more of interest to me and in my wheelhouse is the first full trailer for the upcoming Disney Plus series, Willow. We've seen a teaser for it that gave us a real sense of what it was going to be about, but this trailer really gives you a much better impression of what the story is. There is a prince that has been kidnapped, and all of these people have come to Willow to try to get him to help them fight against the evil that has kidnapped the prince and rescue him. It looks good. They announced also that Christian Slater is going to be in the cast, with the only detail saying that it's a character that will be helping in their quest and was a friend of Mad Mardigan's. So, awesome. I'm guessing he's going to sort of fill in the Mad Mardigan role, but they've got so many other, if you've seen pictures from the previous teaser or this trailer, they've got so many other fighter characters. It's really cool. And of course, the little fairies or whatever they were called, that's not the word that they use, are back, and they're hilarious, of course, and I'm really looking forward to that. It looks great. You can see that they put a ton of money into sort of updating the special effects and the look of it while keeping the overall aesthetic of, like, what Willow looks like. I'm kind of keen on the fact that he's got, a Yelena Belova green pocket vest going on, but, that's cool. It just looks really good. Joanne Whalley is back as Princess, screw up her name, Sorsha. I was going to say Sarsha. Princess Sorsha, and it looks like she's got some fighting scenes in this too, which, yay. So, if you are a fan of Willow and you've been anticipating this and you didn't wait to see it, or didn't get to see it when it premiered on D23, go check it out. It's on YouTube. It's all over the place. Looks really good. I'm very excited for it. This is, I should have looked all of these up as I was reviewing these stories. I don't know if they actually made an announcement about when this is going to drop. Yeah, I don't see it here. Hopefully soon. But no, it doesn't say. All right. This is a teaser for The Little Mermaid live action. Halle Bailey there as Ariel. And the teaser basically just shows you what the underwater world looks like to give you a sense of how they have, how they've portrayed it in quote unquote live action, CG that's supposed to look like the real world. And then it's just a zoom in close up as Ariel starts to sing her song about, I screwed up everything here, didn't I? Her song about wanting to be in the, upper world. Halle Bailey kills it. She really gives a sense in just the, it's like a minute long teaser, with her singing of the longing that Ariel brought, or that the animators and the voice actress brought to Ariel in the first movie. And I think it's great. If you're one of those people who doesn't want to see, a person of color in a role that was played by a cartoon of a fish person, why are you watching this channel? I'm just really, And if you there's enough of you out there, I say Disney should just recast every white character that was portrayed in every animated series or movie that they're making into a live action movie with a person of color, just until your heads explode. Cleans you off the planet. We don't have to worry about you. I'm all for that. And then keep it that way, because if they're the best person for the role, who cares? Like, literally, who cares? Now, somebody brought this up on my Twitter, and I said, oh, well, you look at the general color and the shape of the tail, looks an awful lot like a mahi-mahi or a dorado. And guess what? They can change color. So, piss off all you haters. Anyway, I think this looks really good. Again, not really my wheelhouse. I'm certainly not going to go to the movies to see it. I will when it lands on Disney Plus, assuming it does. So this is going to be in theaters May 26th. So I'm assuming that the standard, Disney Plus deal of 45 days later is what's going to happen here. So I'm fine with waiting 45 days. Last topic in the Disney specific area of D23. We got another teaser, this one also about a minute long, for the upcoming series Percy Jackson and the Olympians. We don't really get to see a whole lot except Percy Jackson, played by Walter Scoble. Walter? It's Walker Scoble. They misspelled his name in this Deadline article. Walker Scoble, guys. Who absolutely killed it in The Atom Project, if you've seen that Ryan Reynolds science fiction movie. I said in my review he was going to be a big star. There's no question he's going to be a big star. He, at the age of 12, was able to stand toe-to-toe with Ryan Reynolds, giving back and forth comedy. That ain't easy. So I'm really looking forward to this, if for no other reason, or his performance, but also the fact that the writer of the books, Rick Riordan, co-wrote the pilot episode, has been deeply involved in every aspect of the creation of this series. He sees this as the interpretation of his books that he wanted. And I'm keen on that. I love the fact that, the Camp Half-Blood have these so traditional camp orange t-shirts. It's just wonderful. But check it out if you're at all interested in that, and even if you liked the Percy Jackson movies, because I thought they were okay. The second one was meh. But even if you like the Percy Jackson movies, this is supposed to be even closer to the books, and so I think you'd really get a kick out of this. And if you didn't like them, maybe the reason you didn't like them is because they weren't close to the books. Go check this out. It looks good. For what we see, it is a teaser. Let's make sure that that's clear. And we don't get a lot of detail. All right, moving into the Star Wars part of the D23 releases. That is, of course, Lee Jung-jae from the Netflix hit series from Korea, Squid Game, the lead in that role. And this is not about the fact that Lee Jung-jae took the Emmy Award for lead actor in a dramatic series last night, which he did. So congratulations to him. This is about the fact that he is going to be the lead actor in the upcoming Star Wars series called The Acolyte. The Acolyte is a story set at the very end of the High Republic, just at the beginning of the rise of the Sith. And so one would assume that the Acolyte is referring to a Sith. Now, whether or not that means he is going to be playing a character who becomes a Sith, whether he's going to be playing the character that is fighting against the start of the Sith, or the most current rise of the Sith, etc., we don't know. None of these details are in there, except that he's going to be the star. Joining Jodie Turner-Smith, who they announced last week would be part of the series. Leslie Headland is the everything on this series, and by that I mean director, writer, executive producer, and showrunner. So this is 100% of the work of Leslie Headland. So this looks really cool. I'm more excited about this now that they've landed such a really talented actor. All praise to them for deciding to, and to Lee for deciding to make this kind of a project his first American studio work. And I'm looking forward to it. I think this will be really cool. I'm also looking forward to finding out more information about really what the story is about. Set at the end of the High Republic, the rise of the Sith, that's about all we know. And we don't know when this is going to happen. I mean, they did announce that this was something that they were going to be doing 2 years ago, but then again, COVID. So having just announced the lead role, I'm guessing this isn't anything that we're going to see until 2024. But before then, summer of 2023, I believe, we get the return of The Mandalorian into Season 3, and we get our first teaser trailer for that, and it looks really good. It's pretty clear, as you can see from this shot here, that an awful lot of the story is going to be, or at least part of it is going to be connected to Bo-Katan's, struggle with the Mandalorians, but also it's bringing back Giancarlo Esposito. So I'm guessing that there's going to continue to be a struggle about who winds up controlling the Darksaber. Kind of a spoiler for, well, Boba Fett, really. Anyway. Oh, and Boba Fett is coming back. Temuera Morrison is coming back. Christopher Lloyd is going to be in a guest starring role. I'm very excited to see what that's going to be. And Nick Nolte is coming back, but in a voiceover, they say, as the alien Ugnaught Queel. And I don't believe he was an Ugnaught in Season 1. I think that was a different kind of character. Let me really quickly see if I can bring that up on IMDb, he says, while trying to type around his microphone. Okay. Come on. No, it is Queel. All right, he plays the same character, so that character is coming back as well. He didn't look like an Ugnaught to me. Oh, well. So, yeah, Mandalorian Season 3 is coming, I believe they said summer of 2023. Oh, no, February of 2023. I am mistaken. So, yeah, excellent. Much earlier than that. So check it out if you are, as I am, a big fan of The Mandalorian. They've made some serious mistakes recently, particularly Book of Boba Fett. I don't say serious mistake. It was a misfire. It didn't work, what they were trying to do. But that doesn't mean that The Mandalorian isn't still amazing. The Mandalorian episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, which is really silly, but there were 2 Mandalorian episodes in the Book of Boba Fett, were fantastic. And, Season 3 is just going to be absolutely stellar. Speaking of Star Wars series, we got what they're calling the final trailer for Andor. And I guess they're saying final trailer because this drops in October? No, September 21st. Oh, wow. All right. A little over a week. With the first 3 episodes. It doesn't really add anything if you've seen any of the previous teasers or trailers, and they have released quite a few for this. But what it does say... So the one thing that's I found a little interesting is that when Luthen Rael, who's played by Stellan Skarsgård, is recruiting Andor to be, or Cassian to be essentially a spy for an assassin for the rebellion. He says, quote, "You'll ultimately die fighting these bastards. Wouldn't you rather give it all at once for something real?" And one, spoiler for the end of Rogue One, that's real foreshadowing for the end of Rogue One, but also it really gives you a sense, more than you got from his character in Rogue One, that he was fully accepting of the fact that any one of the missions he was asked to do in this 5 years that this is supposed to take place, from the beginning of the series to the events of Rogue One, he could have died. And he was apparently pretty comfortable with that. So it looks like it's going to be even darker in tone than Rogue One was at times. And I like that. They don't have to be grimdark. Mandalorian does a great job of bouncing back and forth between, lighthearted and serious action without getting particularly dark. But then, you've got something like Boba Fett, which just didn't understand what tone it wanted at all. And if this hews a little bit more towards the darker tone of Rogue One, I'm on board. I think they need a series like that. September 21st, I'm going to be watching. Absolutely going to be watching. All right, now we are moving into the Marvel Studios part of the D23 stuff. We're going to start off with the reveal, this was the summer of 2023, now I remember, of a cast addition to Loki Season 2, and that is Ke Kwan, we see here in the middle. Short round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. What was this character's name in Goonies? Data in Goonies. So, most recently, he has been seen in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And he basically didn't do anything in movies, almost nothing, for 30 years. Between 1992 and 2022, he did 3 films. That 1992 one was Encino Man. So, that's a way to, put a cap on your career, I guess. But he came back in 2021 with a movie called Finding Ohana. And then Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was a surprise hit. It is, from everything I've heard, I haven't seen it yet, don't anybody spoil it for me, I will come through your computer monitor and beat you silly. From everything I've heard and read about it, he is amazing. Like, where have you been getting your acting chops when you haven't been acting for 30 years? Amazing. And the fact that they landed him for an ongoing regular role, he's credited for all 6 episodes of Loki, season 2. I think it's great, and I can't wait to see who he's playing and what the character is. That's really all we got out of Loki, other than the fact that it's going to be returning this coming summer of 2023. Specific date not set. Richard E. Grant is coming back, which I guess makes sense because it's a multiverse, and who knows how many different versions of classic 60s comic book version Loki there could be out there. But apparently that was popular enough that that version is coming back. Yay. I'm very excited for that. I'm excited for this, of course, all around. So good get for the Marvel people. I think this is wonderful. I'm glad he's joining it. I think he's going to be great based on what everybody has said about how fantastic he was in Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's also kind of funny that movie that brought him back into the limelight is essentially an alternate universe multiverse story. And now he's in a series that's an alternate universe multiverse series. So, not typecasting, but, type role, anyway. thematically similar content. Summer 2023. All right, this is the last time we saw Tim Blake Nelson in a Marvel product. This is the one of the very last things you see in the Ed Norton Incredible Hulk. And this, of course, was Tim Blake Nelson playing Dr. Samuel Stern, who was both trying to help Bruce Banner get rid of the Hulk curse, powers, whatever you want to call it, but also was forced to help Emil Blonsky create the Abomination. So 2008, going all the way back to 2008, the news is that he is coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Samuel Stern. And if you know your Marvel stuff, Luminous, Loki Season 2, is this the first and only Marvel Disney Plus Season 2? Yes. That's a good observation. It is, in fact, the only one. Now, we knew it was coming. They made the announcement that there would be a Loki Season 2, and they haven't announced any other... So, tying this in, Captain America New World Order is the name of Captain America 4, which will be starring Anthony Mackie as Captain America, is really a direct extension of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series. So that is sort of a sequel, except this is going to be a movie, a full-fledged feature movie. And it will be bringing back Tim Blake Nelson as they're calling him the leader, which is Dr. Samuel Stern in the comic books. And as you can see, at the end of The Incredible Hulk, his head started growing and the indication that he's going to start changing color into a green-skinned character. The leader is a super genius with psychic abilities. He's telekinetic and telepathic. And I think that's fantastic. I'm so glad. Tim Blake Nelson is one of the best character actors working ever. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Minority Report, The Holes, or just Holes, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. He's fantastic. And he's an amazing singer, too. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. They also announced, and I didn't bring up a picture of her, unfortunately, Shira Haas is going to be joining that movie as Sabra. Sabra is an Israeli super hero. And I really think that's really cool that they're integrating that character into this. It makes it seem like this is going to be, once again, a sort of globe-trotting international political thriller / superhero movie. Although in this case, they definitely have a straight-up comic book villain in the leader. Also joining returning is Carl Lumbly, who played Isaiah Bradley in the series Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It doesn't say that the actor who played his grandson Elijah is coming into the movie, but this would be a great way to introduce Elijah as Patriot, one of the Young Avengers. But I also have read that, I can't think of the actor's name, it's killing me, I'm sorry, that the actor who played the character, the Latinx character that is going to be the Falcon, that is the character with the name the Falcon in the comic book, and will be the Falcon in this movie, is coming back. So that's really cool. Also, Luminous, I'm glad they're making a wide variety of shows. If every show had multiple seasons, then I assume there would not be as many shows. That is true. I have to say, I did get caught up by a really good fake that implied that there would be a Scarlet Witch solo movie. The title graphics were perfect. Phase 5 Marvel type stuff. They did a really good job. And the name of their channel was Marvel Studios, but I didn't look quickly enough to see that it was at Mervel Studios. Murvel. So I yeah, I actually retweeted it, and then within minutes I went, wait a minute, that just doesn't sound right. That they're going to be doing like they're doing with Captain America, making a movie spin-off of this series in which a character is actually, as far as we know, dead. Of course not, but so yeah, they got me on that one. But I agree that it is really cool that they're doing some series, some are clearly just building up to something that they haven't announced yet, Young Avengers, and some are, one anyway is getting a season 2. All right. The first full trailer that they showed, there were some trailers that they showed, or at least teaser trailers, that we have not seen yet, that were only shown to the audience there, including the Marvels. But the first full trailer that they showed was Secret Invasion, the upcoming series featuring Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, dealing with what seems to be, or they're describing as, a splinter group of Skrulls that have been infiltrating, the Marvel universe, Marvel institutions and political institutions on Earth for decades. And it looks really good. As you can see from this image, it's shot, lit, very much like a thriller. It looks more like a political action thriller than it does a superhero movie, although there are superheroes in it. Wide cast. Kobe Smulders comes back as Maria Hill. Of course, we know Ben Mendelsohn is coming back as Talos, but it confirms that Don Cheadle will be back as James Rhodes. He's in this. We've got Amelia Clark, Olivia Colman, Kingsley Ben-Adir also in it. And they didn't show it long enough for me to confirm it, but the article does confirm this. Martin Freeman is going to be coming back as Everett K. Ross, who we last saw in Black Panther. And yeah, it really looks, even though the Russos are not involved in this whatsoever, it really looks like a Russo's production, like a political action thriller in a superhero movie. And I'm all for that. Give me more of that. I like the fact that, we're going to get to see, at least for some bits, we're going to get to see Fury without his eye patch and get to see, the damage that happened. That Secret Invasion trailer has a scene that was so very cool, I had to go back and rewatch it. I'm fine with you in the chat. Anyway, it's a trailer, so letting us know which scene you were talking about, Luminous. Fill me in. Which one was the one that really sort of surprised you and got you back to rewatch it? But in the meantime, I'm really looking forward to this. I know that there's some information about when this is happening. They announced it, at least in a general sense, in previous timelines, but I don't have it here, and I can't think of it right off the top of my head as to when Secret Invasion happens. I think it's the latter part of 2023. But while Luminous is thinking about that or deciding whether or not he wants to put it in the chat, let's go into our very last topic for the Marvel stuff. This is the artwork that was commissioned by Marvel to show the lineup, the official lineup for the characters that will be the members of the team, the Thunderbolts. And we finally saw this. All of them came on stage, I think. Perhaps Florence Pugh had to do a live call-in, I think. But so our lineup here is going from left to right. Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the Contessa Allegra Valentina de Fontaine, who has been recruiting various members throughout the course of the series, of different movies and series. We have Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, whose phasing ability was stabilized by Janet Van Dyne at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. We have Red Guardian, David Harbour, I'm sorry, let's get the actors as well. Hannah, that's her first name. Hannah John Kamen as Ghost. David Harbour returning as Red Guardian from the Black Widow movie. Yelena Belova returning as Yelena Belova. They're not calling her Black Widow or White Widow. Pauline, welcome to the show. I'm on our last subject, so I'm probably wrapping up within about 5 minutes or so. And apparently leading the team. So Yelena Belova will be leading the team, also from the Black Widow movie, and then popping up in a bunch of things. We have Bucky, the Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan. Yelena Belova, of course, played by Florence Pugh. We have, as we were pretty sure after the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that he was going to be a part of whatever team it was that the Contessa was pulling together. We have John Walker, U.S. agent, played by Wyatt Russell. And this is kind of a surprise to me, we have Taskmaster, played by Olga Kurylenko. So we have 3 characters coming in from the Black Widow movie, 2 from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and 1 from Ant-Man and the Wasp. What they don't say in here, what they didn't announce on the stage, is whether or not Daniel Bruhl, Baron Zemo, is going to be involved at all. He's not named as part of the cast. He didn't show up. Now, obviously, the lineup of this is based more on the later lineups of the Thunderbolts comic series than the original one. Originally, the Thunderbolts were a team that stepped in allegedly to fill in the space for missing Avengers, because the Avengers were missing. But they were, in fact, a team of supervillains, and they were there basically just to pretend to be superheroes to get to a point where they could do whatever kind of crimes they wanted to. And they were led by Zemo, cosplaying essentially as Citizen V, a very swashbuckling but very patriotic kind of character in full face mask armor. But all of the characters were villains pretending to be different kinds of superheroes. Later on, it became more of an anti-hero or reformed villain squad that was kind of like the Suicide Squad. And so there you had Punisher, you had Agent Venom, you had Red Hulk, you had other characters like that. And this seems to be what that is like. As far as we know, Ghost has never been cleared of any of the charges after she fled S.H.I.E.L.D. Red Guardian is still supposed to be in a prison in Russia. Yelena Belova was a Black Widow and has, as far as we know, again, not been cleared of any of the activities of the Black Widows. Bucky is a reformed villain. John Walker is a disgraced Captain America. And Taskmaster is a villain, possibly reformed. So they're definitely going for that latter feel of the Thunderbolts teams. I'm wondering whether or not they're holding an announcement about Bruhl in reserve because he's going to be the baddie. Maybe working with a power broker, or maybe not, or maybe it just didn't work out, like a deal with Bruhl didn't work out. I can't imagine that being the case. He seemed to be really happy with the work he did on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so we'll see. I would like to think that's the case. I would love to see Zemo. I mean, a Thunderbolts without Zemo involved in some fashion just doesn't seem right. Even though he wasn't involved in these later iterations where they were anti-heroes doing Suicide Squad-like Black Ops missions. But still, they've got Baron Zemo. They left him hanging. They gave him the purple mask. Now, I really hope he's going to be involved in this going forward as the villain. So we now know what the last thing in Phase 4 will look like and who's going to be in it. And of course, Phase 5 is going to be or Phase 6 is going to be launched with the Fantastic Four movie. Oh, big callback to earlier in the show about Tim Blake Nelson. I forgot that he was in Fanforstic, or whatever you want, the terrible Fantastic Four, most recent one. He played a researcher, Dr. something or other. I can't remember his name. But yeah, Tim Blake Nelson bringing it all back. So I guess technically he was in a Marvel movie, but not a Marvel Studios movie. Luminous, my overall impression of the Marvel announcements is the absence of Avengers and X-Men. I think they're waiting for X-Men to be either a second linchpin of Phase 6 or the start of Phase 7. Which would be kind of too bad, because that means we're talking about at least 3 years before we see anything. And there are a lot of actors who could be, phased out of this. I agree with you about the Avengers. They've got all of these young actors that they've said that they've implied very strongly. I mean, they're all the cast of the Young Avengers comic book. Cassie Lang from the Ant-Man and the Wasp, Elijah Bradley from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Wiccan and Speed, Billy and Tommy from both WandaVision and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel. They've got both the original lineup almost entirely set, and newer characters in the lineup. They've got to announce a Young Avengers and get that rolling soon, or these people are going to age out of being able to play the Young Avengers. So I'm really shocked that they didn't announce at least a teaser, like he did with Blade back 2 years ago. And by the way, and then, the Young Avengers logo. And like, yay, everybody cheers. There was nothing like that. So that makes me a little worried. I don't think that there's going to be another Avengers until they get to those ending of Phase 6 movies. Avengers, the Multiverse Saga, or no, that's the title of the entire Avengers thing, or the entire saga. Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars. And maybe that's it. Because they've committed to Secret Wars, one, it's going to be really tough to do a Secret Wars without the X-Men. It's going to be tough to do a Secret Wars without Spider-Man. Maybe that they've got so much on their plate with the idea of doing a Secret Wars. But again, if they're doing the most recent iteration of Secret Wars, it's the idea, they've already talked incursions, of alternate realities mashing into each other and ultimately being formed into a single whole. There's almost nothing left for Marvel that they need to buy up as far as rights. So, what's holding them back? Why wouldn't they introduce the X-Men to have everything come together, unless a result of everything come together is this surprise, by the way, off in one really random universe, we now know, the 8 whatever it is, that had the 90s Professor X, has clearly the X-Men in it. They all match together, and by the way, there are now people who have mutant powers, and are all part of this one world. Maybe that's what the end of Phase 6 is going to be. It's essentially Marvel has, gotten everything it's ever going to get as far as rights to anything, and boom, they're all part of one universe now. Thank you very much. And that's what Secret Wars will be. Or that's what the outcome of Secret Wars will be starting Phase 7. This is all speculation. I have no idea. It sounds like it would make sense to me, but that doesn't mean, I don't have Kevin Feige's brain, sadly. Well, he probably needs it, but anyway, on that note, folks, that's it for the show. Please, if you do get a chance to check out our Patreon page, we'd love to have you be a patron, patreon.com/nerdcaliber. We'll do a nice short little begging session for that, and that'll be it. And we'll see you at an upcoming show. We'll see you at an upcoming con. I will not be able to make it to Granite Con in Manchester, New Hampshire this weekend, sadly enough. We will have a team. Greg will be there playing the role of me, taking cosplay contestant photos and just general photos as well. Manuel will be there doing video. We might have another photographer, still working on that one. And then we'll see you at upcoming cons later on in the year and in further shows here. If you are going to a con, I've got so many friends who are coming back from cons in the last couple of weeks who are COVID. You know, the brilliant Bill Doran, Chinbeard on Twitter, you know, Punished Props, has COVID and is not, I mean, he's not doing badly, but it's really messing with his head and he really hates it. Coming out of Dragon Con. Just one of many people that I know coming back from Dragon Con who got COVID. Wear a mask. Yes, it is possible that stuff can get through a mask, particularly if it's not an N95 mask. Yes, it is possible for you to have breakthrough versions if you've got had COVID before or you've had all your shots. Also, before you go to a con, go get the new booster, the new bivalent booster. Now, covers like almost every Omicron variant out there. It's free. They brought the registration website back up, so you can go to the same website you probably went to, the federal government website that will find a place near you. Get that shot. And wear your mask. So anyway, that's my spiel, whatever, for this show and for this week. We will see you at an upcoming show. Please be safe. Enjoy the slightly cooler weather.